They set up the date as a joke, a cruel one recorded for their group chat, meant to embarrass a woman they thought no one would ever choose. What they didn't expect was that the man they'd chosen for their prank would stand up in the middle of the restaurant and say something that would silence the entire room. Before we continue, if you believe kindness always finds its way back to the people who deserve it, take a moment to like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone you care about, and subscribe to Woven Hearts. Stories like this one are exactly why we started this channel. Noah Bennett was 34, a firefighter and a widower raising his 8-year-old son Sam, alone since a car accident took his wife 3 years earlier. At the station, his co-workers respected him deeply, but they also worried about him. Noah worked double shifts, picked Sam up from school every day without fail, and hadn't been on a single date since the funeral. "You're allowed to live a little, Bennett," his co-worker Danny said one afternoon, only half joking. "Come on, one dinner, we already set it up." Noah didn't know it was a setup in the cruelest sense, that Danny and 2 others from the station had chosen the woman specifically because they thought pairing her with the station's most serious guy would be funny enough to record. Her name was Grace Osei. She worked as a hospital records clerk, was 31, kind, almost to a fault, and carried a scar along the side of her jaw and neck from a kitchen fire when she was 19. One she'd stopped trying to hide with makeup years ago, though the stares from strangers had never fully stopped hurting. She said yes to the date nervously, hopeful in a way she hadn't allowed herself to be in a long time. The restaurant was small, warmly lit, the kind of place where conversations stayed at a hushed volume out of respect for the room. Noah arrived first, wearing the blue button-up his son had picked out that morning, insisting, "You look like a superhero, Dad." When Grace walked in, she immediately noticed 3 men seated near the back, Danny and 2 others from Noah's station, phones angled slightly upward, trying too hard to look casual. Her stomach dropped. She recognized the type of laughter she'd learned to fear over the years, the kind that came right before humiliation. She sat down anyway because some small, stubborn part of her still wanted to believe this could be real. If this story is holding your attention so far, let us know in the comments where you're watching from. We love seeing how far these stories travel. For the first 20 minutes, conversation was thin. Grace kept her eyes low, bracing for a comment about her scar, a laugh she'd have to pretend not to notice. Noah, meanwhile, sensed her guardedness, but didn't understand it yet. Then he asked her simply what she loved about her work. Grace looked up, surprised by the question. "I organize patient records," she said carefully. "It's not glamorous." "It matters, though," Noah said. "I've seen what happens when hospital paperwork gets lost during an emergency. People like you keep things from falling apart when everyone else is panicking." It was such a small thing to say, but Grace felt something in her chest loosen slightly. Nobody had ever put it that way before. Behind them, Danny's phone was still angled upward, waiting for the moment that never seemed to come. As dinner went on, Noah found himself asking more questions, listening more carefully. He noticed the way Grace's hand occasionally drifted toward her jaw when she felt nervous, an old habit of self-consciousness she wasn't even aware she still carried. He also noticed, more clearly now, the 3 men at the back table, the 2 frequent glances toward their table, the phones that never quite went away. He understood all at once exactly what this dinner had been set up to be. Grace noticed him notice. Her voice dropped. "You should probably know this wasn't really your idea, was it? The date, I mean." Noah met her eyes steadily. "No, it wasn't." Grace nodded slowly, already reaching for her coat. "It's okay. I've done this before. I know how it ends." "Wait," Noah said gently, reaching a hand out, not touching her, just asking her to stay. "Give me 1 minute. Just 1. Then I promise, if you want to leave, I'll walk you out myself." Noah stood, straightened his shirt, and walked calmly to the back table. Danny's smirk faltered slightly as Noah approached. "I know what this is," Noah said quietly, setting his own phone face down on their table. "You didn't think I'd figure it out?" Danny laughed nervously. "Come on, man, it's just a joke." "It's not a joke to her," Noah said, his voice steady, not loud, but carrying a weight that made the surrounding tables go quiet. "You picked her because you thought no one would want to sit across from her. You were wrong. I've spent the last hour talking to one of the most genuine people I've met in years, and the only thing embarrassing at this table tonight is the three of you, hiding behind your phones instead of having the decency to introduce yourselves to her like human beings." Danny's smile disappeared completely. One of the other men lowered his phone, his face reddening. Noah didn't wait for a response. He turned, walked back to Grace, and pulled out her chair. "Let's finish dinner," he said. "I'd rather spend tonight talking to someone real." Grace didn't cry until they were outside, under the restaurant's string lights, and even then she laughed through it, embarrassed and grateful in equal measure. "Nobody's ever done that before," she admitted. "Then it was overdue," Noah said simply. They saw each other again the following week, and then most weeks after that. 8-year-old Sam met her 2 months later at a small park near the fire station, and after 20 minutes of watching her patiently help him tie his shoelaces without once mentioning she'd noticed his struggle, he turned to his father and said, "I like her. She doesn't make things weird." Noah told Grace that comment later, and for the first time all evening, she didn't reach for her jaw out of habit. She just smiled. If this story touched your heart, take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who still believes kindness is worth choosing, and subscribe to Woven Hearts for more stories like this one. I think about what almost happened that night often. How easily cruelty disguised as a joke could have gone unnoticed. How close Grace came to walking out before anyone gave her a reason to stay. But I also think about what it means that one person, in one quiet moment, chose to see clearly instead of laughing along. Sometimes the kindest thing a person can do isn't grand or complicated. Sometimes it's simply choosing not to look away and asking someone sincerely what they love about their life.